Test, test, check 1, 2. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Does that sound all right? Ah, that's better. You can always tell something's missing when you get isolated results. Like AI that's only right for one of your systems. Get AI that can work across your data and applications. Learn more at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Mega is an improvised satire from the staff of a fictional megachurch.
We are here, the Lord, we are here, and we're ready to podcast.
Hiya, I'm Hallie Labont, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every week we give our mega church a tiny family feel by introducing you to members of our church staff and people from our community. It's a treat and a treasure. Per usual, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the youth pastor for our high school ministry called Climax. Please welcome Gray Haas.
I'm hyped to infinity because I'm lit on the Trinity, Hallie. How are you?
I am so glad to be with you here today. How are you doing? How are your Climax kids, Gray?
Hallie, things are just absolutely popping off at
Awesome.
Climax. I am probably the first ever youth pastor to get an official corporate sponsorship for my youth group.
So cool. What's the sponsorship?
Well, as you know, I oftentimes will go to the Christian, the Silicon Valley, but basically it's a Christian Silicon Valley meetup that occurs every year in southern part of Indiana.
Yeah, I do know that.
And this year I met some really awesome guys. I don't like to name names, but Jake Spiderman and Pesky LaRue, they're just 2 awesome guys that were in Climax when they were teenagers. Then they went on to start Silicon Valley, the Christian version of it in southern Indiana. And they came to me with this amazing idea for an app that they're doing called Bible Bump.
I already love it.
And what it is, Hallie, is, do you know that feature on your iPhone, if you place your iPhone sort of tip to tip with another iPhone and move them around, and it transfers your contact information into the other person's phone and vice versa?
Oh, cool.
Well, this one, Bible Bump, you put it on your phone. If you put your phone near someone else's phone, it downloads an entire Bible onto their phone, and it gives you their contact information so you can follow up about their relationship with Christ and Jesus specifically.
That gives me God bumps.
I mean, well, it gave me a Bible bump because
So cool.
now they are, to the tune of a few, right now it's $100 a month, but we get to put Bible Bump branding on all our Climax Youth Ministry stuff. They gave us awesome swag bags, and they put the Bible Bump on every single teen in Climax's phone. Wow. Against their, not even to their knowledge. They find out later. And so now I've got all my teens' contacts on my phone. I've got a Bible on all their phones, and we've got corporate sponsorship from a really sick startup.
Oh, man, that is blessed. And I'll tell you what, it really makes you reflect on how many Christian missionaries, hundreds and thousands and millions through the years, who have died trying to get Bibles to people who can't get them.
Oh, I know. And it's like, wish they had Bible Bump. They used that in their presentation. They kind of went through like, look at all these people that died trying to sneak Bibles in. Now We just have a Bible bump.
That
and
is
it kind
so
of,
cool.
yeah, in a way, it kind of made the death in vain.
And so the person doesn't even have to know or, be okay with it. You can just download a Bible onto their phone without their even knowing.
As long as they have an iPhone, Hallie, it goes right on there. And they are going to use it for Samsung too. It's just those are a bit lame. So.
The Bible will probably be in green text on those. Well,
how's your week, Hallie?
Well, I covet your prayers. The Bible tells us we all have our cross to bear. Isn't that right? And
that is
I'll tell
right.
you what, being a mom, trying to raise godly kids in a biblical household has its challenges. But, this week I was encountering stuff outside the home that surprised me a little bit. My son, Day, he's doing a lot of Japanese noodles. He's getting into cooking at home.
Oh,
and he's
no.
interested in all these strange flavors, from Cambodian food to Thai food to Japanese food. He wants miso paste and stuff that they don't have at Kroger.
I don't encourage that, especially among boys, and especially if it's Eastern stuff, because sometimes, some religion might sneak in there. But what's miso paste? What's that?
Well, I asked him, why are you interested in cooking? Because you, like girls, you're going to get married to a woman
Right.
that God is preparing for you. What's she going to do if you're, in there like some chef running the kitchen
You're
and
going to
making
take away
all
one of the
meals?
jobs.
Well, yeah, then she's going to have idle hands, and we know that's the devil's playground. Any hoodles, I had to go all the way to Whole Foods, which grieves the heart of God. Well, I don't know if it grieves the heart of God, but it's hard on me. I got to take my Lexus all the way down there. I like to go to Meijer because I can fill up my gas tank and all
Right.
that stuff. And it seems less liberal in some way. I'm not even sure why. It just seems like the people who are working at the Whole Foods, they don't feel real saved to me, and I don't feel
Right.
safe in there. Plus, the prices and whatnot. But I am standing there at the checkout at Whole Foods with my dang miso paste or whatever the heck it was, these strange ingredients that Day was asking for. And I noticed I didn't have my wallet. The cashier says, you can do, Apple Pay on your phone. I said, I don't have that set up. And then he showed me this new program they got going on that is a palm scan, where you scan your palm. Like palm readers are looking at all those lines. Well, they'll take those prints, those fingerprints that are all over your palm, and they'll scan them, and all your info is there. And then
Whoa.
you can just scan your palm when you go to the grocery store to get your groceries. And I was reminded instantly, Gray, that I heard years ago growing up in the church that we were to expect that someday, unless we got the sign of the beast, we would not be able to get groceries or a loaf of bread and feed our families. And so I'm standing there in Whole Foods, my heart sinks, and I just say, it's here.
Yep.
I mean, all these heathens at Whole Foods are scanning their palms. It is
Clearly.
the mark of the beast. It is wild out there. And so I said, forget the miso, and I had, put in a
Yeah.
bunch of other little snacks in there that I
I mean,
had
that's
to.
why I do most of my grocery shopping at GNC.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So I had to calm myself down on the way home, stop by Hobby Lobby, get a few things from a Christian retailer.
Oh, but how did you buy things if you didn't have your purse, your wallet?
Oh, well, at Hobby Lobby, I trust them, so I just did the retinal scan.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
just like Jesus is going to kick the pants off of Lucifer someday, our guest today is kicking soccer balls straight into a net. It is our world-famous manager of our Twin Hills soccer team, the Iron Feet. Please welcome to the program, Barley Gump. How you doing today, Barley?
Oh, it's just lovely to be here with you guys. It's so nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.
It is so exciting to have you, Barley, because, I mean, a lot of people know this season you have taken our little soccer team. I know you say football, but really taking them from being somewhere sort of the lower end of the pack right to the top of the inter. I guess what do we call it? The interchurch, the premier
championship, the ICC.
The ICC,
the ICC Interchurch Championship. I'm just, it's not so much me. It's the boys and the girls in the team. They've done all the work. You know what I mean? They're the ones that we really want to hold up and celebrate here. I'm just an old man who's come across the pond, and hopefully lit a little fire inside those little hearts.
Awesome. I mean, exciting. How does Indianapolis compare to England? I mean, are they pretty similar?
I mean, they're virtually exactly the same. I mean, in every way, virtually exactly the same. I mean, there's, you have restaurants, we have restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
You have humans, we have humans. I mean, in Indianapolis, you love your pets.
Yep.
And
that's
in England,
true.
we love our pets too. I mean, the only difference, I think the only difference is that you can turn right. On a road when a stoplight is red, which is, I mean, God, my life is, to be honest with you, that's my favorite part of being here.
Oh, yes, because
driving?
Because you all are on the opposite side of the road, aren't you?
Yeah. That's right. And
I had to get used to that too, because I'm from Australia. We don't drive on the opposite side of the road. We just go the other direction. So same side, opposite direction.
Yes, that's right. You reverse everywhere, don't you? You kind of,
yeah. So front, forward, our cars in Australia are meant to go backwards at a high rate of speed. And then forwards, they, a bit slower.
A bit slower,
Oh, wow. So are your cars, is the steering wheel actually in the back by the trunk?
Yeah, the steering wheel's in the back and the front looks like the back. So really it just feels like it just looks like really a car, but we are doing it opposite.
Wow. Well, they say Australians came from UK, so maybe you two were related.
Oh, maybe.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you were a criminal in my family. Gray, maybe perhaps you're a criminal in my family, and we sent you. But I'm pleased to be reunited with you right now.
Well, speaking of criminals in your family, I did want to talk a little bit about what is your family life like? I mean, how did you find your way from, I guess you were coaching some team in England.
That's right.
And then you decided, you know what? I think it's better that I coach in the United States.
Do it for Christ.
So how did you find your way here?
Well, it's a long story. I mean, if I go all the way back, I was a professional footballer.
Oh, really?
First of all, I was a professional footballer.
What team?
Well, I played for a number of teams. I started off with a team called Queen's Park Rangers, which were just a lovely team in West London. And we weren't actually the Queen's Park Rangers. That wasn't a sort of job that we all held before we got into the team, but it was just the name of the team. Oh, okay. And then I played for Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay. These names, so fun.
They sound like Hobbit teams.
They really do.
They do sound like Hobbit teams. They do. And I don't know if J.R. Tolkien was inspired perhaps by football teams, but I know he was a big Plymouth Argyle fan. So
another one. These names are amazing. And are you the one who renamed, I guess, the Iron Feet, which is the new Twin Hills Community Church Iron Feet? Was that you doing?
That was me. That was
Amazing.
me. Yeah. I just, I wanted to create something that really kind of spoke of strength. And strength of feet. I don't know if you've watched soccer or football, as I call it.
Yes.
You need strong feet.
Yep.
That's the key part of it. The rest
Muscular
of your body can be
feet.
weak, but your feet have to be strong,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, is there any, in baseball, sometimes guys cheat by corking the bat or put, do people in soccer ever put, iron in the toe of their shoe so they can, kick it downfield farther?
It's a funny story, but that's where I originally got the idea for the name. Was an old teammate of mine. His name was Wally Parks. Wally Parks. He was a wonderful footballer. Sadly no longer with us. God rest him. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us. He had a skydiving mishap for a charity TV program. It's very sad.
On TV.
On TV, yeah.
Oh, dear.
He jumped. The parachute opened. It was absolutely fine. He landed on the floor, and he just landed unfortunately on the motorway and was hit by a lorry.
Just the wrong landing zone.
Just the wrong. But he used to always famously he'd put sort of iron filings in his shoes. You remember iron filings from school and things like that?
Right.
Sure,
Yeah. And he had a shot on him. Oh, he had a shot.
Really?
God, he was
So did it slow him down though at all when it came to running?
He could not run. I mean, he virtually stood still in the area for the whole time, and he was fine, absolutely fine until the offside rule was brought in, and then I mean, he was just it was a disaster after that.
So could he bend it like Beckham, as they say?
Well, he just hit it hard and straight. I mean, he had no finesse at all, Hallie. None at all. I mean, Beckham is a beautiful man, a very attractive man.
Right. Well, I love anything that's hard and straight.
Too good looking. Is he really British? Because that's good looking.
I know what you mean. He doesn't. He does not look British, does he?
No, he really doesn't.
He's got beautiful teeth. He's kind. He's sweet. No, I mean, he is one of ours. He's just a rare one of us.
Really?
And where does he get that little voice that he does? I mean, is that I always thought, is that a character that he's doing, or is that really how he talks?
We're still waiting to see. I mean, we're very much hoping it's an Andy Kaufman kind of thing that he's going for, that it is a really long play character. Otherwise, there is no reason why he'd speak like that. There isn't. I mean, it is like a child has got it, but maybe he is just a sort of a child within. Yeah,
a child in a billionaire's body.
Yes.
Well, I do want to ask. Barley. So you started, as a player, you're playing over there, and now about how old are you? Because you seem a bit on the older side. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm 46 years old now.
Oh, really? Okay, younger than I thought. Okay,
yeah.
And
younger. Am I younger than you thought? I'm British.
Right.
So,
I think the accent just makes it seem like a granddad.
Yeah. And so you played professionally, but then you came here to coach.
Yes.
And were you coaching over there too? I mean, what inspired you? Was it Jesus? Did Jesus really light you on fire and say, "Hey, you've got to be coaching in the United States and you've got to be coaching a church team"?
I'm going to be honest with you. I finished my career. I had a terrible injury. I had an awful injury. I did
skydiving.
Skydiving. That's right. Yeah, I went on the same charity show.
Oh, it was the same
charity
program.
show this time. Yeah, and they'd learned their lesson, so we didn't do it near a motorway or a highway.
Okay, so same charity, different year.
Same charity, different year. In fact, the charity, ironically, was raising money for Wally and his memory. So I jumped out again of the plane. Parachute opened beautifully. It's an absolute dream. But a gust just dropped me off in Whipsnade Zoo. And I was dropped off in the, yes, that's right. I was dropped off in Whipsnade Zoo in the, what do you call what are the big lizards? The big lizards that kind of.
Oh, the Komodo dragons.
That's it. That's the one. Yes, the Komodo dragons. That's right. And I landed there in an enclosure. And, well, to be honest with you, I was there for 3 days.
Really?
3 days, because it was, I dropped in on the Friday night and they were closed for the weekend. And
nothing between you and the dragon, but a parachute to protect you for 3 nights.
Nothing but a parachute to protect me. And I don't know if you've read about the Komodos, but they have very slow acting venom, incredibly slow acting venom. And I was lying in that, and I knew my career was over. I was lying in the enclosure. And at that point, I saw God. I saw him.
Oh.
He appeared to you.
He appeared to me. He appeared
like
to me.
Daniel in the lion's den.
That's right.
Exactly that. Exactly. And, you know, I looked at him and I said to him, I said, I don't, what do I do? Lord, what do I do? I can't play football.
Yeah, I think that would be the
anymore.
first thing that anybody would probably say.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, what do I do?
What do I do? You know, and he said, do what you feel is right.
Awesome. I love it when he gives good, straightforward answers.
Straightforward advice. And I said, what does that mean?
Right. I guess that would be a good follow-up.
Yeah, right. And then he said, listen to your heart.
Oh, I love that.
Just, you know.
Again, just right on the head.
Absolutely. He's so
what did
good.
you do?
So what did I do? So I said to him, how do I know what is in my heart?
Oh, right. A question following up the question.
Following a question. And he said, only you can tell.
Yep.
And then I'm going to be honest, and I've not done this often, but I got a little annoyed with God at that point.
I mean, sometimes we do that, don't we,
Jacob
Holly?
wrestled with God.
That's right.
Exactly.
And you wrestled with a dragon.
Exactly. I wrestled with a dragon, and I said to him, what does that mean? What does that mean? And at that moment, I was lying there, and a baseball cap came on from the team, the Indianapolis Indians.
Oh, the minor league baseball team. They still have that name.
It fell into the thing, and I just thought that's God. That's God talking to me.
And was that because the minor league team was just outside of was the team there visiting, or how did that cap?
Or perhaps someone had left it.
I don't know. God never told me. You know, he wouldn't tell. I mean, after that point, I don't know if you guys notice this sometimes about God, but he's not always available when you need him.
Isn't that right? Yep. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We say, "Where are you, Papa? I need you." And it feels quiet and dark.
Or is it that he, I would say maybe it seems like he's not available.
Yep.
But maybe we're on hold.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the customer service line that is God, while he's sort of deciding what he wants to do.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. Maybe we haven't pressed the button that we need to press to get through to the right department yet in our minds. You know, maybe perhaps that's the. I don't know, but since then God hasn't really spoken to me very much. But I think it's probably because I'm happy. I'm happy with Twin Hills. I'm happy here. The tax man can't get me anymore because I'm in a different country. So that's kind of that's great as well.
Well, I think, this God has really put it on my heart, Hallie, that I'm just seeing the story here because our team is named the Iron Feet. You fell into a pit just like Daniel.
Yep.
Iron Feet, and our B team is the Clay Feet, so that is an awesome reference to that amazing verse in Daniel. And then, of course, as you've said, or as it appears, it looks like the Komodo dragons began to try to eat you from the feet up. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. But mainly on account of me standing. I think maybe had I been, lying down, they might have gone for my head. But they went for my legs on account of me. What a blessing. What a blessing. And, I lost that. I just lost my heel. I didn't even lose the whole foot, just a heel.
Yes.
Yep.
But you can't play football with one heel.
McCrispy strips are now at McDonald's. I hope you're ready for the most dippable chicken in McDonald's history. Dip it in all the sauces. Dip it in that hot sauce in your bag. Dip it in your McFlurry. Your dip is your business. McCrispy strips at McDonald's.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
If I may give you a word basket of encouragement, Barley, I'll tell you what. We know that God moves in mysterious ways. You know, God can even use the venom, the slow-acting venom of a kimono dragon to cause you to hallucinate enough to see him and hear from him. And though his message might not be very direct, well, guess what? It's God who gives you the desires of your heart. So if the desire of your heart is to be involved with football or soccer, then that's from God. So all you have to do is follow what you love. And also, I just want to say, Barley, that you just said you're happy. And you know what? That's a sign that you are squarely in the center of God's will, because the Bible says that the fruit of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And, you know, happiness is a sign that, you know, you are in God's, you're on the right path. And I feel like all these kids looking up to you, this, you know, sophisticated ex-professional soccer player with no heel, you know, you can be an example to them of how you don't need a heel to be happy.
No.
You know? That's cool.
No, exactly. God gave you two for a reason.
See?
You know? He gave you two so you could lose one and be grateful for it. You know, I think that's the truth.
That's right.
You're so right, Ali. I feel like I'm in the center of God right now. I feel like I'm the central midfielder of God right now. I'm playing, you know, central midfield. I'm spraying balls left and right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm covering the defense. I'm dropping back if I need to sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm keeping an eye out. I'm threading a ball through to the strikers, you know, to God's strikers. I'm doing the dog's work to make God successful. You know, just as I did as a player.
And even though I don't really understand much about soccer or football, as you say, I definitely can relate to being at the center of God's field. What an amazing image. You know, something I did also want to ask you, Barley, because, you know, you've really pushed the team, as far as I can tell, into really embracing sort of, you know, the British style of football. And, you know, now I listen, you know, you all were practicing the other day on the annex field. I mean, and I barely understand what anyone is saying because they're all sort of talking with these slang terms and things like that I guess are British slang terms that I have no idea what they're saying. So are you teaching them also how to speak like a footballer?
I'm going to be honest with you. That's been the hardest part. Right, that's been the hardest part, is teaching them to speak in the English style. I mean, you know, it's all very well playing it. I mean, you know, I don't know if you know this about much about the soccer team, but you can see when you speak to the USA women's team, they very much speak like English people.
Oh, really? Do we have a women's team?
You have a women's team, yeah,
really?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow!
You know,
I didn't think they allowed that.
I don't know. Great. I don't know when they allowed it. I don't know if it's going to catch on. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it's something that will last, but it's happening, you know, and who are we?
Great.
Who are we to, you know, to question these things? Although, of course, in my heart, I have questions. But, you know, ultimately, these women have been incredibly successful because they speak English. If you listen to Megan Rapinoe, she's always saying things like, you know, on me head, son, or, you know, or slip it in, or, you know what I mean, round the back, you know, which incidentally all sound filthy. I understand that. I do understand there's an element to football talk that sounds dirty, but it's really not. I want to make that absolutely clear. I really do.
Okay.
Well, actually, I never thought about it, but I do wonder if it is kind of dicey to teach kids how to try to get something into something else, because that's pretty sexual. I mean, it's called scoring, which also is what a boy says when he gets with a girl, that he scored.
Oh, I know. And you said it earlier, Hallie, bend it in.
Yeah, bend it in. Exactly. If you catch it in the area, that's called a hand job. If you catch a ball in the area, that's called a hand job. You know,
is that right?
You know,
wow. And there are lots of different, like, you know, there's so
Punting.
many things like,
Yes.
like I raise my girls to be like goalies or keepers of their own bodies, you know. Don't let anything in. Nothing's going in and nothing's coming out, you know. I should get them some of those, you know, gloves that those goalies have, and if any boy comes near them, they can smack those boys right out of the air. I mean, maybe girls should do soccer and should only be goalies and use those same principles to stay chaste.
I mean, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's great that you teach your daughters that sort of thing. You know, I think, you know, if I had my way, every woman in this country would have goalkeeping gloves.
That's cool.
Every single woman would have goalkeeping gloves, and they could, you know, they could use those gloves to protect themselves in any way that they wanted.
Right.
You know?
And you could probably bake with them if you need to.
Hey, double duty.
100%. You could absolutely do something like that. You know, they'd be great for dropping the children off at school, like driving gloves. Women can drive in America, can they?
For now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Great.
But, you know, that is something interesting that you've said, which is, I mean, ladies are playing soccer. And, you know, sometimes I'm surprised to find out that the U.S. has a women's team. That is interesting. And, you know, our team is co-ed, isn't it? So you're coaching both men and women on the same team. But something that I think that you've done that's different than a lot of what these other teams are doing is you've really said, you know, why do we have just one goalkeeper? And you fielded the team with several goalkeepers at a time, haven't you? And they're all kind of in the backfield trading off. And you know, it's amazing to see 3, 4, 5 goalkeepers at the same time.
You know, it's great. Thank you. I mean, this is something that I never really got off the ground in England when I was there. But I've always felt this, that the goal is a finite size. There's only so much room. The more goalkeepers you have, the harder it is to score. There is nothing in the rules that says you need to have one goalkeeper.
Isn't that fascinating?
Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
I'm experimenting with 5. I mean, I'm experimenting with 5 goalkeepers. We're thinking of going up to 6th because Jared, you know Jared.
Yeah.
Jared's
he's so
got a twist.
Cute out there.
He's a sweet little boy.
Jared Stickovich.
He really is. Yeah, but you know.
Yeah.
Little Jared.
Little Jared Stickovich. Well, I'll tell you what, I just think soccer is chock full of what could be great sermon illustrations. For instance, the worst thing you can do during a soccer game is to touch the ball if you're a player on the field. But if it goes out of bounds, you're allowed to touch it, grab it, stand there, hold it, and then throw it in, which must be very confusing for a player. Like, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball, don't touch the ball. Now you can touch the ball. Well, it's the same with sex and marriage. You spend your whole life, don't do it, 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 don't do it. You say a couple vows, everything goes. You can touch anything and everything. You can put your hands on all of it, just like that.
We got it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can, you know, I never stop thinking about the metaphors, the similarities between football and religion and our God.
Awesome.
You know, it's so right. You know, don't touch it, you know, and once you're outside, once you're married, do what you like. That's knock yourself out. You're free to do anything you want. You know, and that's very much the rule.
What's another one that you think about?
What's another one that I think about? Well, okay, think about this. You know, the offside rule. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't understand that offside.
I'll never understand it as many times as it's explained to me.
The fact of the matter is, no one here really knows the rules, and that's probably why.
I'm going to level with you. Yeah. No one here really understands it either. We've all been kind of,
I believe that,
just figuring it out. You know, we kind of make a choice and things like that, and that's kind of what it is. You know, none of us are sure about anything. We have to make a choice, don't we? We have to make a decision on something like God would want us to. You know, we can't just you know, meander through the world doing what we want. At some point, we have to put a line down. And that line is the offside line. It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter what's happened. At a certain point, we have to agree it's there.
Yeah.
I
think refs just say offsides when they just want to change something up. They're like, I'm a little bored. I'm just going to say this so that we can get something else moving. Offsides, another perfect sermon illustration. If you're a man and you see a woman walk by you and it seems like what she's got in the back might be a nice big bubbly thing you want to check out with your eyeballs, and you turn around and check out her behind, but you're married to another woman, guess what? You're offsides.
That is offsides.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you start, if you go on the internet, and you get a message from someone from Ukraine, for example, in your email, and you decide just to reply to that person and help them out, with some money or something like that, you're offside.
That's right.
You're offside.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Has that happened to you?
A couple of times. I'm a bleeding heart. I get emails.
Right?
I'm a charity. I'm someone who loves helping out with things. Largely, I mentioned before, my tax problems were as a result of me getting involved in honey traps. I think that's what you call them in some ways. A honey trap, is that the word?
Yeah. I'm not sure. That might be a British word that I'm not familiar with.
Okay, it's so basically what would happen was that there'd be people would put big barrels of honey outside my door, and I'd walk out and I'd fall in
so
them.
More of a prank show.
Oh,
it was very much so. And once I'm in the honey and I'm struggling, when I'm focusing on the honey that I'm trapped in, there's just people running around taking things out of my pocket. It's a very British crime, the honey trap. But
and try getting up out of a honey trap without a heel. That's
it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a shame people do that, but it's you can't help it. You got to forgive.
That's right.
Isn't that right? That's right.
Well, and something that you're also doing is now, and you said, now we're not just going to have the A team of the iron feed and the B team of the clay feed. You are getting kids young as age of 4, age of 5, and you're putting them into the program here at Twin Hills. So that we are starting our players younger and younger, so that by the time they get to that top team, which, is anybody from 8th grade and up, I guess, can play.
Yes.
But, so, and a lot of times people are going, we've got adults playing against kids, but that doesn't really matter as long as they're at the level. And I think it's so important that you've gotten them involved so young.
If you're good enough, you're old enough. That's a famous manager said that. Sir Alex Ferguson said, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Wow.
And that's what I say. And these kids, I'm mainly training them to be goalkeepers because, I have a dream of 11 goalkeepers, in goal. I have a dream, I don't know if I'll be able to I'll do that. But, if I train enough of these kids up, but, if I'm honest with you, I want to create a dynasty. I want us to be, the leading team in the ICC for decades to come.
Yes.
I really do. And
I heard you giving your speech going, I have a dream that one day we will have 11 goalkeepers in this. I mean, it was so inspiring, Hallie. You should have heard it.
That's awesome.
It was really, I don't like to toot my own trumpet or anything like that. But when I'm at my weakest, at times I will come home, I will make a lovely cup of tea, and I will sit down and I will go onto the Twin Hills website and I will watch the footage of my speech and I will listen to myself. And,
I love that.
I guess I feel pride, but shh, don't tell anyone. If out of all the sins, I think pride's probably the one that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because at least you're being proud of something you've done for Jesus. Isn't that right?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Because I never I'm not one to question many things, but I never understood the pride one personally. Being a sin.
Well, you got to balance out, the humbling process of being covered in honey. You got to kind of balance it out. And I was just wondering, why is it that the entire planet favors soccer so much? It's the number one sport globally, and yet the United States couldn't give two patoots about it.
I know.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I suspect it's. There's something about American sports that, and that you don't seem to be able to enjoy sports that go on for a long time. If you look at American football, it's one throw and then you stop for 5 minutes and commercials. I think I think your love of commercials slightly supersedes your love of sports.
Yeah, that's why we watch the Super Bowl is just for the commercials.
The commercials are amazing.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, I mean, basketball is probably the most like football in terms of the kind of continuous sporting sort of things. But, I mean, I don't want to say this, too much. I don't want to be out of order, but, I don't want to watch giants. If I wanted to watch a giant, I'd want to watch someone slaying them with a stone and a sling.
That's right. I mean, it is. I mean, it seems like basketball is kind of the opposite in a lot of ways because it's giants using the hands, and you've got a bunch of tiny little things running around out there, and that's been one of your things too, is you have to be good. Doesn't matter how old you are. And you also have to be very small, don't you? Yeah, exactly. And so some of the smallest little things we've got out there just running around on the, what do we call it? A field or?
We call it the pitch. We call it a pitch.
That's right.
The pitch. That's cool.
That's right. Yeah, we call it a pitch in England. We call it a pitch, and then the bit around the outside is the out pitch. Okay. And then the what you call the dugouts, we call the have a seats. That's called the have a seats, and it's where you go to have a seat.
And what do you? And because I heard you the other day saying, I'll see you on the pitch. I'm on my way to the outer pitch, and then you say, now I'm driving home to go to my sleep pitch. And so is that what you call the home? Is just another version of the pitch?
Everything's a version of the pitch. The eat pitch, we call it, the potty pitch. It's all of these places are just, the world's a pitch.
Yep.
Isn't it?
All the world's a pitch.
All the world's a pitch.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. And that was a quote that got misinterpreted when I lived in England.
Oh, you said life's a pitch.
Life's a pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I got in a lot of trouble. I don't know, but in England, I don't know, you know this, but you're allowed you have 3 swear words in your life. Yeah, you're allowed 3 swear words in your life. After that, you go to jail.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And so did you have to pick yours? You have to really think about what you want to spend your cursing on?
You have to choose them wisely. You have to really choose them. Some say I wasted mine. Some say I wasted mine.
Did you use them all that day in the?
Used them all in that interview. And in my defense, one of them wasn't. Life's a pitch wasn't even me swearing, but because it got reported as swearing in the eyes of the law, it's
wow. And the interview
swearing.
was after. Was it what? After you had just gotten out of the zoo thing?
Yeah, that's right. That's just after I got it out of the zoo thing, and I'd said I was in my zoo pitch. And then I said, life's a pitch.
Right.
And they, of course, a footballer says, life's a bitch. And then, it was a nightmare. And then, of course, because they were looking into that, they found out about the tax stuff. So it wasn't kind of,
Well, do you mind me asking, what were the curse words you picked?
Okay. So the first one was, First one was damn, which I know is not it's not a good one.
It's too bad.
But somewhat biblical.
Yeah, and
it's somewhat biblical. I had biblical stuff in my mind. I did want to damn the person, even though that's not my job, but I wanted to damn them. We've all wanted to damn people.
Right. But that's for God. God is the one who can damn. Yep.
He does it. You can hint. You can hint to God. You can say, damn him, and if God does, maybe he's listened to you, maybe he hasn't.
That's right.
And then then there's the second one I used was an English phrase, which is gadzooks, gadzooks, which is which I think is relating to someone who's loose and things like that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. And then the final one I used was I'm not proud of this one. If I'm honest, I'm really not. Sort of. I wish I hadn't said this in many ways, but the last thing that I used was I'm really when I was down in the Komodo dragon. And I panicked. I didn't know. And I was just like, you f***ing lizard, you f***ing lizard. cunt, you can get out of here. I will fuck you up. I will fuck all over you. I will jam that shit down your fucking throat, you cutting lizard. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. God loves me, and he will fuck. You can suck my cock, you dirty monitor lizard. And
oh, I thought it was a Komodo dragon.
Ooh, well, that was our dear friend Charlie Kemp playing Barley Gump. I love him so much. He's a ray of sunshine, and I do find him to be a breath of fresh air in the smog of life. Follow him at KempEZ77 and check him out on the new Netflix show Bodkin. He's fantastic, and he also has a wonderful, hilarious podcast called Mind Canyon.
And of course, I'm Greg Hess playing Gray Haas.
I'm Holly Laurent playing Hallie Laban.
And if you could dip into those pockets and become a Patreon member, we are an independent podcast now fully. And so that is the best way to support the podcast and keep us going. And if you can, leave us a rate and review.
We appreciate you. See you next time.